Hey, you guys, welcome back to our channel. We are super excited because we have a person that some of you guys have been inquiring about, and we have too, that is going to join us. And we're going to sit down and do a chat with her. Now, I wouldn't call it an interview because we don't really like to interview people like that, but we do like to sit and chit chat with people. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, before we get started, y'all know we have to play our intro. So, let's go ahead and get started.
Hit it.
We keeps it real, expressing how we feel. Whoa, so come on in and sip some tea. Join the KoEd family. We're about relationships and review, making it fun just for you. So go with God, let God go with you. It's time for Courtney and Eddie.
I always put God first.
And we are back. We are back, you guys. So look who we have in the studio. Well, not in the studio, not really in the studio, but look who we have that's a part of this interview on today. The beautiful Kirsten.
Hey, Kirsten, how you doing?
Hey y'all, I'm doing great. How are y'all?
We are great. So first we want to say thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be to sit down and chat with us. That's something you didn't have to do because sometimes people kind of get in their feelings when it comes to us reviewing the show and we try to ask for an interview and they put us on do not disturb and unread and all that stuff.
Heck no, I ain't getting on that with y'all. What y'all been talking about me?
So hopefully, so thank you again for accepting our interview.
Yeah. And like I said, we appreciate you, Kirsten, for like you said, coming on. And we're gonna get into it. We're gonna shoot the breeze, nothing too tough, nothing too serious. Gonna make it kind of light and fluffy.
Good. I like light and fluffy. I'm excited to be here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks
For those that are watching, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. For those that are watching, maybe a little lag. So, Kirsten is receiving our information, a little bit slower and vice versa. So, just, bear with us in the lag. So, let's first, get started and ask you, okay, so what made you want to try out? I don't know if that's the right word, but what made you want to be a part of Married at First Sight? Like what is your background and what made you want to join Married at First Sight?
So it was definitely several reasons for me to apply, for Married at First Sight. One, because I'm at the age where, of course, I want to be loved. I want a companion. I want someone that I can do life with, and explore the world and build a foundation and a legacy with. So those were my top reasons for applying, to be matched with this wonderful man, whoever, the man they chose to be. And it's more so like an arranged marriage in my eyes. So hopefully I'm, trusting these experts to vet out the guy, asking him all the questions, making for sure that they feel like he would be a great fit for me. So that kind of takes away from me having to go out and date guys and, see how the date is going to go, see if I want to continue, dating that guy. And here in Nashville, I'm from here, so I always know and see the same guys out. And I'm like, well, I don't want to talk to him. And I'm not really attracted to that guy. So it's like a very small community here. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can just start, being a part of different organizations so that I won't continue to see the same faces. But, participating in Married at First Sight gave me a chance to really explore something out of the normal. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Let's just see if this works. I mean, it could work or it cannot. So those are the two chances. So sometimes in life, you just have to take a chance. And that's what made me take the chance on being a wife and Married at First Sight.
All right. Okay. 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 Okay.
But before Eddie kind of gets into it, let me ask you, what's your background? We did see your mom on the show. We did see your brother. What is your background? How did you grow up? You know, I know you say you are in, you know, from Nashville. So how did you grow up?
Growing up for me here in Nashville, my parents met at a very early age and they had me at a very early age. And by the time I was 8 years old, my mom and dad split apart. And so, you know, that was a very tough moment in my life where I realized, like, oh, now my parents are having to co parent. Like, now, you know, we are having to survive on what we have. And, you know, growing up in a lower income housing for 5 years, it was definitely life changing for me because, you know, you go from a household with two parents to one parent. So I was very sad and heartbroken at the time. And you don't really realize what your parents are going through when you're that age and that young, but you just
Right.
know that your parents aren't both in the household. And then I had younger siblings, so I always tried to be an example for them. And growing up for me, I was very soft spoken. I wasn't as outgoing as I am now, but I had to like overcome that. And then when I was in the school systems with children, you know, who were also in the low poverty areas, skin had to get a little bit thicker.
Right. Right.
And so I've always attended pretty diverse schools, but sometimes it was a little bit of a culture shock, you know, for me when it was more of the same race in school for me. So it's just like developing all of these things all at one time, like knowing that you're being raised by a single mother, knowing that your demographics are changing, and just knowing like you have to speak up and find a voice for yourself sometimes.
Right.
So now that I look back on life, I'm like, gosh, I can't believe how I got through all of this.
Wow.
Yeah, so growing up for me was very interesting. But I'm appreciative of all the things that I've been through in life because it makes me the person that I am today.
Exactly.
And so I had wished my parents would have gotten back together. Like I really wanted them to work it out. And I feel like things would have definitely been different, you know, had my parents stayed together, had they worked it out. But they were young at the time. So it was like children raising children. They were trying to figure out life
Mhm.
at the time. And my mom did the best she can. She provided a house for us. She provided food for us, clean clothes, make for sure we look um, put together, real presentable when we're, you know, going to school and getting our education. And then once I continued to grow as a young adult and adolescent, I participated in sports. I danced. I graduated from Nashville School of the Arts. It's a performance school here in Nashville.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I love to dance, ballet, jazz, modern, musical theater, African, majorette, all the things. I feel like I was born to be an entertainer. So if Beyonce ever wants to hire me to take her place, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. If whoever wants to hire me to play her in a movie, I'm here for that. Um, so I definitely enjoy that. And now that I'm at the age that I am now, I'm like, okay, I really want to get back into that because that's what makes me happy and that's what brings joy to me. And I feel very fulfilled when I'm singing and dancing and, you know, having a good time. So that's kind of how growing up was for me. And then after I finished high school, after I graduated, I attended the University of Memphis and I went
Okay.
away from my family. It was like 3 hours away, so not too far. Still
Mhm.
earned the Hope Scholarship and in-state tuition, so I went to college for free.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and so in college, I met new friends. Like my family would come and see me when I participated in. I participated in one pageant. Still a little shy. I didn't really like interviewing, but sometimes I do know how to come out of my comfort zone. Hence, you saw that on the show. Like sometimes I'm very reserved and I like to process
Mhm.
everything so that I can articulate all my thoughts. But went there, pledged in sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, of course.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had my line sisters, and sometimes in life, well, for me, I kind of enjoyed college, you know, a lot. And then it was a big transition after graduating from college. So I feel like it's very important while you're obtaining your education to also look for resources and tools so you can come out
Right.
more successful. So interning and job shadowing. And I, I was like a part of the Black Student Association, participated in fashion
Wow.
shows. And it's like before I graduated, I applied to over 200 plus jobs in healthcare, because my undergraduate degree is in health service administration. And I received a couple of phone calls and a couple of interviews, but I didn't land a job, as soon as I thought that I would, which was a little discouraging, because it's hard transitioning from college life into the real world. And so for me, that was like, okay, like what's next in my life? Like what's going to happen now? So I relocated back home to Nashville, stayed with my dad for a little while. And that was a really hard transition in life for me, because I had this bar set in my head, like, this is what I want. This is how much money I need to make. And these are my goals. And so it's like when you're out here interviewing for these jobs and it's 20 to 50 to 100 more people applying to these jobs, interviewing, doing the same thing you're doing, it's just like, oh gosh, this is a little frustrating. So did that for a little while. I've had many careers in my life. I worked as a State Farm representative because I had wanted to have my own State Farm insurance building and, be that representative, because I do also enjoy serving the community, educating people on health, insurance, other things. So I was working at State Farm for a little while, and I was like, okay, this is not working out. I'll try something different. And then I became a project manager, and I stayed there for like 2.5 years. And I also obtained my MBA while I was working as a project manager. So working as a project manager, learned how to structure everything. I was the point of contact. I did throughout the United States of America. So I'm working with schools, I'm working with hospitals, making for sure that they have all the furniture that they need. So when you go in the hospital, you have to have somewhere to sit down. When you go into school, you have to have the student center. Like when you go into a small business, it's a lobby area, it's offices, it's desks. And then I was managing like a $4 million project for a hospital. A lot of furniture at this hospital that I was like responsible for. And so it was 6 floors worth of furniture. I mean, millions of pieces of furniture, and like the logistics of all that is just mind blowing, but people don't think about things like that. But I was project manager. And then after I did that, I obtained my MBA from Cumberland University. And I also obtained real estate license. So I'm doing all of this. And sometimes I never know how much I'm doing until I reflect back and be like, okay, like, sometimes I don't give myself enough credit. Like I don't pat myself on the back.
And you should.
So that's something I have learned and I've become better at, because you should appreciate your small wins. And so that's something I've learned throughout life, throughout living. And I also learned like not to apply too much pressure on myself, because that's not healthy either. So just finding that balance. But yeah, so that's how I became a real estate agent. I was looking to see, where the cranes are, how Nashville is developing, looking at the progression of it. And I'm like, I need to be a part of this. And so not only did I become a real estate agent, and so not only did I become a real estate agent, I started to educate myself on the importance of real estate and what it means when you own property, and how you can leverage the property, how you can create generational wealth with it. Like it's so many lanes in real estate that you really can, provide for your family and create that generational wealth. So it was important to me to learn that, to be able to teach to others. And then I'm like, okay, one relationship didn't work out. Long-term relationship for 4 years. The guy, had a ring for me, but he couldn't get his behavior together. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so we had to split apart. And I was pretty bummed about that. Like we had owned a condo together. Like for me, I was more focused on a relationship, like pathway to success. Like we need to get married. We need to get this condo. We're gonna have another house. We're gonna have the kids. Like had it all mapped out. Because once I'm like going, like I have a million things like for us to accomplish. And sometimes like person skill, but it's okay to have goals and it's okay to get things done, but calm down a little bit. But I'm just that type of person to where I'm like, okay, let's have a plan, because I like some type of plan, some type of idea. Like it's okay to wing things, but for me, I need to know some concrete things. But that didn't work out. We sold the condo. COVID happened, and then once COVID happened, I got stressed out, because not only do I not have a man in my life anymore. I don't have anybody, barely. Like, nobody can come in contact with me.
That's true. That is true.
Like, what is going on? Like, why did the world have to shut down right here and there?
Right.
So that was like another stressful time in my life. And I'm like, oh goodness, like I have to figure something out. But it was very, very hard and rough for me. So I'm like, whatever's meant to be, was meant to be. So I just, explored life a little bit. And then my friends and family contacted me and I was like, hey, you should sign up for Married at First Sight, give it a chance. And I was going along with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a chance. And then they called me. Married at First Sight did, and it's like, we have a match for you. And I was scared for my life. I was like, what did I get myself into? Oh my gosh, this is insane. I didn't know they were gonna select me. Like, I was nervous. I was like, I don't think I can do this. Oh my goodness, like the fear came over me. I was like, oh.
That's understandable.
Yeah,
that's understandable.
Kirsten, before you continue, let me. You said that you like little small wins. I want to say that you didn't have small wins.
Yeah, you had some big wins. That's why I'm sitting here listening to you. Man, this girl done a lot. You know what I'm saying? And you, hey man, if anybody else had your resume, they would be beaming with pride. Oh, yeah, real talk. You know what I'm saying? Because what you did, college, MBAs, Deltas, you accomplished a lot. You really have. And you need to pat yourself on the back. For real. There you go.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely you accomplished a lot. And then too, in my head, I'm like, dang gone Shaq. Like, it seemed like y'all was just like the perfect. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have saw. I think Pascal said it. Y'all to me was a power couple, and I didn't even know that you exude all of this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else he had with him, but you had exude all of this, and y'all just to me matched well.
I was so mad. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was definitely an experience. I mean, a lot of people, when I watched the other people give reviews on each couple's success rate before, the show had its first episode, they were saying which couple that they believe were going to be successful and weren't going to be successful. And they're like, for some reason, they're like, although Kirsten and Shaquille looks great on paper, I don't think they're going to work out. So they put that out there to the universe too. But anywho, but like Shaquille and I definitely have so many things in common. Like, we both are educated people. We both strive for excellence. We both cherish our family and friends. We are both Christians. So yeah, we look amazing on paper, and we could have been a power couple, had things worked out. But it's like, once you're in that type of accelerated relationship and you're filming and you're still trying to have your career, like, it's multiple things, multiple components that play major roles in that. And for me, I know that I was more reserved and I was trying to process everything. And then I started to become a little stressed because I'm undergoing a process that is not a traditional way of the way you go in life. So you're getting to know a stranger. Did not know this man, have not seen him ever in my life. And so you literally have to unpack so many things, and we're filming multiple times of the week. And it's just like day in and day out, and you're drained, mentally and emotionally some of the days. And so I feel like now, today, Shaquille and I know each other better. It's been a year. We went through a journey together. But at the very beginning, I feel like once he realized I wasn't open enough, he didn't think that he had to put in the work. No, you need to put in the work to get to know a woman, and vice versa. Like, even though I'm still reserved, I'm a very observant person. So even though I may not be talking and asking many questions, I'm literally watching every move. Like, I can mention something somebody's done and they didn't even realize that I was watching them. And so I learn off people's actions sometimes, or listening to their conversations. And sometimes that's how I learn and get to know people. And it's like, when you don't understand somebody at first, you have to give them time. And sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like he was gentle enough, or I don't feel like he was he took initiative enough. And like I have to weigh in on that too, and I take full responsibilities of everything that I did not do that he may have needed from me. But that's what happens when you meet somebody you don't know, and it is really hard to figure out the logistics of getting to know a person in that type of circumstance.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Mhm.
I have a question for you, and people say when Shaq came on that me and him kind of look alike, and we both bald. And why you don't like bald men? I took offense to that.
Let me be very clear, because I had to let Frazier know that too when we did the reunion. I have nothing against bald men. I will date a bald guy, and I asked for a man with a low haircut and a beard originally, and they asked me if I was open to dating a guy that was bald. I said yes. So when I'm answering these questions, I don't know what I'm going to see at this altar. So that was the only thing that so I didn't expect to see a bald man at the altar, and that's why I'm like, okay, like he's bald. That was shocking to me because I didn't know what to expect. I told them my preference, but I have nothing against bald guys at all. Like not one bit. Yeah, Kevin asked the same question. He said the same thing, and it kind of looks like I kept harping on that at first, because it was new to me. I'm like, oh, this man is bald, blah, blah, blah. But my first preference is a man with a low haircut.
Okay, I was like, man, she said she don't like bald men. I don't know how I feel about that, man.
No, that's not
I
true.
was in my feelings, man. I was in my feelings, man. I was like,
No, everybody was. I didn't mean to offend all the bald men in America at all.
Yeah,
so y'all are amazing men. Y'all are amazing men.
Some of us can't grow hair, so we had no choice but to be bald. But
that's understandable. That's understandable.
Yeah, a lot of people. Okay, so in the beginning, you initially were not attracted to Shaquille, and we saw, that it didn't seem like you was attracted to it, and then you said, "Oh, he's bald," and it almost kind of gave us as a little you know what I'm saying? Just us looking at the viewers like, ew.
Because you said, if I don't like him, I'm not gonna kiss him, and when he tried to kiss you,
I don't know. Did you turn the cheek? I forgot it.
Yeah, she turned the cheek. Yeah, I said, ooh, and that's another thing that kind of offended me, because when I first met her, tried to kiss her, she did me the same way. She gave me the cheek.
I did, but that was like date 3.
But still, man, I was trying to give her a kiss on the lips.
Right, we don't want people trying to kiss all up on us. So give it time, let things settle in.
Exactly.
But I know outside looking in, it did. Yeah, I know outside looking in when I'm saying, how I'm not attracted to him and, not kissing him at the altar. I know that's very, offensive to him as a man. And I'm like, looking back now, I wish things would have started off on a better foot, because that would have gave him more confidence, in this marriage. Like we probably had a better relationship going forward. It would have, made everything better in my opinion. So I was like, oh, I hate that all that, like looking back on, I'm like, oh, I hate that it all started like that. I could have gave him a little pick and we could have just moved on from there. But I'm the type of person, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Like, I'm not going to like front like something's okay when it's not. Like, I'm so past that because I'm older now. So it's like, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not saying it in a hurtful way. I'm just telling you how I feel and what I'm thinking, and I had to explain that to him because we didn't know each other. So I don't want him getting offended by every little thing that I say and getting his feelings and emotions about everything I say, because then that'd make me become frustrated. I'm like, I don't have time for this. Right. So that was hard. That was hard for us because I'm like, Shaquille, I'm not trying to offend you. And like sometimes when we would talk to the experts about certain things, we haven't had that conversation in our household together. And so it was like, some of this stuff is new information to him. And I'm like, please do not get your panties in a bunch. Because so like with me being a dancer and being involved in different things, I'm used to constructive criticism. And so with
Right.
constructive criticism, you either one, learn from it, or you keep your ears open to be more aware of what you're doing and saying and how
Right.
you're feeling. So, and I noticed that on our honeymoon, I asked him, I said, "You're not used to constructive criticism, are you?" Because when people are not used to that, they get emotional very quickly.
Yeah,
And so I'm like, I'm not saying anything to hurt you. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm being 100%.
Right. So would that be said that Shaq is maybe a little bit more sensitive than you are?
I feel like when we were getting to know each other, once we first got married, it seemed like he was very sensitive than I am. But now that we know each other, like, I don't get that much sensitivity from him at all because we both know what's up. Like, we just
Gotcha.
know, like, we know each other better now. But like starting off, I'm like, oh no, he's way too sensitive for me. And I just probably shouldn't even say a lot of things. I'm gonna just, have some type of poise and some type of filter because I do not have time for the nonsense at all.
Yeah, Ed is sensitive too,
No, not to that point. Now,
Now,
come on.
as
All
far as
men,
me.
I feel like all men are sensitive. Like, people have a certain sensitive, like,
Well, to a certain point,
to a certain
we got. Yeah, I agree with that.
understand that. And like me learning men, and the more I'm around men, like, we all have sensitivity levels, because we're human. Like,
Right.
everybody's human. So everybody's going to have some type of thing that makes them a little bit more sensitive, or some type of topic, or
Right.
anything that'll make them a little bit more sensitive. So men and women, it's part of who we are.
I totally agree with you on that one. I do.
So let me ask you this. In the beginning, we saw that you had a guard up, and some of us reviewers and commenters were very like, and I think somebody said, I don't know if it was in our comment section or whatever, but they was like, give her a chance, give her a chance. But in the beginning, it was like, wait a minute, Kirsten, because we had already fell in love with Shaq, and so and so when you came out, it was like, ooh, he's bald, he's this, we was like, oh my gosh, now we had fell in love with Shaq, So you had a guard up, and so what made you put that guard down? Or
was it still up towards the end?
Yeah.
It's so funny because everybody was on the Shaq bandwagon, and I was reading the comments, even though I shouldn't have been reading the comments because it did.
That's a big no.
Yeah, it stressed me out. It was a couple of nights that I cried because everybody was like, "Oh, Kirsten thinks she just sitting there," and all of these things. And it's like, of course, people are going to pass judgment on you because of what they're seeing, and how it's displayed, out there. So of course people are going to say that because that's what they're seeing. And so I'm just like, okay, whatever. They don't know me. Like, Shaquille doesn't know me. These people don't know me. So it's like, I can't allow that to interfere on what's going on in our lives. And so, of course, I'm going to have my guard up. Like, I don't know this man. He is a stranger, and he's not doing anything special that's making me feel more comfortable. So until I feel comfortable, and until he helps me ease that guard down, and until I help myself, become more open to him, then I'm going to have a guard up, and I'm still going to grow what we're trying to grow the marriage and getting to know each other. But it's just like, I feel like with our personalities, and if he would have helped me more and like lean into that, and like if we would have had more interactions, like intentionally, then I feel like my guard would have came down much faster. But at the same time, when you're not attracted to somebody, like, the guard's not going to just easily go down. Like, when you're getting to know a stranger, the guard's just not going to easily come down if you don't already have those initial feelings about somebody. So it did take me time, but that's because I became more comfortable with him, throughout the process. I'm like, this is my husband, this is what we're doing, and let's move forward. Because having a guard up is not going to help anything. And so I feel like we both started to have that energy, and the energy shifted, and that's kind of what caused a lot of friction within our marriage.
Go ahead, baby.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna ask you this. Well, how am I gonna put this? All right. Did you still want to be with Shaq after he said no, he wanted a divorce?
So I'm gonna keep it 100 all the way. So
Right.
the reason why I said yes to staying married to Shaquille is because I felt like we could have gotten to know each other and explore life outside of being filmed. So
Right.
we could have had, you know, our dates, and we didn't have to be on TV talking about how we feel and
Right.
answering tough questions and being uncomfortable. We could have been uncomfortable in private, talking and having a
Mm.
good time, and let our hair down together. Because like whenever Shaquille and I did go off, I think we had maybe like 1 or 2 dates off camera to where it wasn't any filming. Shaquille was like, oh yeah, Shaquille, he did take initiative, which I appreciated very much. He took initiative and took me on 2 dates. But
Mm.
at the very beginning, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, he took me to the Nashville black market. And this is where Shaquille's not from Nashville. I am.
No, yeah. Right.
This was like the most uncomfortable thing I had to do because we were married. Nobody in Nashville knew we were married. They didn't know I was on the show. So I'm
Right.
like, Lord, I hope nobody don't see us. I'm trying to low-key hide and hoping he's not noticing that. And I think he kind of did notice it a little bit. But I'm like, I need
Hey,
to kind of.
Kirsten. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. What is the black market?
So it's where all the black businesses come and they are vendors and they sell their
Mm.
products. So if
Oh, okay.
somebody's selling like clothes, or if they're selling
Right.
art, if they're selling soap, perfume,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
it is that they make, or yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a nice time.
Right.
And so him and I attended the Nashville Black Market. This was like once we came back from the honeymoon and we were married and nobody in America knew.
Mm.
So I'm like stressed. I'm like, good God, he got me out here with these people. This is what my thoughts going through my head. I'm like, this man got me out here with these people and nobody knows I'm married. What if somebody see us and now I'm gonna have to introduce him? They're gonna ask me what's his name.
Oh,
I'm like, oh no. And
okay.
so that was one day, and I appreciated him because he came to pick me up. It was a day. He came to pick me
All
up.
right.
We went out together, ate some food, did a little 2-step or two, listened to the music, ran into some of his friends. The people I know, I didn't look their way. And so he introduced me to his friend. And so then we left, and that was the night. And then one of my favorite days was Shaquille, that he took the initiative to do off camera, more my speed, first of all. So we went to this place in Nashville. It's really nice. It's called, it's like a wine place, like an indoor wine place.
Mm.
I can't think of the name. I just forgot the name. It left my mind. But we had wine, we had a good conversation, we had some pizza, and I was like, okay, I like this. This is what I like. We're getting to know each other, outside of just these cameras and
Right.
all the other things. So I had appreciated that. So me looking back, saying yes, and him saying no, I'm like, when he said no, I wanted to rip his head off of his shoulders.
We can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
so when I'm
understandable.
cutting my eyes and when I'm looking, I'm like, it's time for me to remove myself from this place. Like, where's the car? Before
Mm.
I go, bizarre. And so, like, the reason why I said yes is we can explore, what this will be like if this is something we truly want to do, because it takes longer than 8 weeks to get to know somebody. Like,
I
Yeah,
totally agree.
it
I
does.
agree.
and
I
so when
agree.
he said no, I was like, you little, yeah. And I was like, what a clown. Because I asked him to have this conversation with me several times before
Mhm.
decision day. And that's kind of what
Right.
pissed me off to the max before, because I asked for that. I asked him to let me know if he wanted to
Right.
stay married or get a divorce. And
Right.
he didn't communicate that with me. And that's why I was overly heated that
Mhm.
day. And so I tried my best as a woman, as an African American woman, as a person on TV with a million eyes on them, to be calm.
Right.
Because once I'm upset, it's 0 to 100 and it's not any coming back. And
Mm.
so I just didn't appreciate him saying no in that moment, because I asked him several times before that day.
And what did he say when you asked him?
He was like, I don't know the answer, like, acting clueless. And like in the back of my head, I'm like, you know the answer.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you need to tell me. I don't play games like that. To me, that's playing mental games. That's like playing with somebody's emotion. No, let me know when you had several days. We've been doing this for 8 weeks. You know where they're not. If you want to stay with somebody and keep exploring this, or if you want to get a divorce, why wait till the day to tell somebody?
Why do you think he said no? Why?
Supposedly, allegedly, he said no because I wasn't supportive enough, or supportive enough was his biggest thing. Okay, at the very beginning, no, I was not supportive enough when it came to his career. In our household and in our marriage, emotionally, I was overly supportive enough, and not everybody got to see that. But I was always checking on him, asking him how work was, asking him how he's feeling, asking him how his PhD program is going, making sure I'm cooking, making for sure we're having a good time, and like really trying to pour into this relationship, because that's what partners are supposed to do. And
That's
so
right.
I'm like, you're saying I'm not supporting enough because I didn't come to your events at school? Like, it's beyond that. And so I'm like, I'm a very supportive woman. My family and friends know how supportive I am, because support means everything to me. Like having that support system, having somebody you can lean on, having somebody you can talk to, having somebody you can cry to is important. And he did all those things when we were together with each other. So, and I did that for him. Well,
Right.
I did those things for him when we were together for each other. Let me re-say that. It was moments where he cried. It was moments because like that, and that was another reason why I was so upset at decision day, because I'm like, you're sitting here crying and you tell me
We
like,
remember you was like, you the one should be crying. You know what you crying for? You the one, I'm the one that said yes and you said no. So what you crying for? We
like
saw that.
right, like humiliated in front of America because you want to wait to sit here and tell me no on decision day because I didn't kiss you at the altar and I said I wasn't attracted to you and all these other things. Let's just keep it 100 first of all. And
So
so
you really think that that's the reason, low key, that's the reason why?
yeah, and I had to talk about that on an after party with Jamel Hill, and she asked me if it was ego driven, and I said absolutely 100%, because
You think it was payback?
it was petty payback, because it was very immature to me, because like who wouldn't want to get their look back if they had to go through all that, like, but that's immature. Like that's when you have to really dig down in your heart and have conversations. Like it's a certain level of maturity, in my opinion, on both ends. And so I always try to look at things from both perspectives. Like I admitted to not doing some things or doing as much as I should have done, in order to make this marriage work. But sometimes you do what you know and what you can do. So I just really feel like if we would have had more opportunities to talk to the experts on and off camera, I think things would have played out a little bit differently for Shaquille and I. I think we would have been able to get out some of that frustration and some of those. I mean, it was little small pains of hurt, when you're going through this and things are not working out and you're getting frustrated with other things outside of the marriage. So I really feel like we probably should have had more counseling in order to have a successful marriage. But yeah.
Man, I was pulling for you guys. I was so much pulling for y'all, man. I really was.
Oh yeah, we all were.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw it. We was in our feelings too now.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. He said no.
Y'all literally saw somebody in
Did she freeze?
Yeah, it kind of broke. Can you say that again? I think it kind of broke up.
Yeah. I was listening to y'all. Y'all said y'all were in y'all's feelings, and then what else did you guys say after that?
Oh, I was just saying, we was upset also when he said no, you know what I'm saying? Because it was a shocker to me. Because I'm thinking, you guys, yeah, I knew y'all had a rough patch, but it's like y'all were trying to smooth things out and things was going pretty well for you guys. And all of a sudden he said no. I said, what you mean no, man? He said, no. I never, man, yeah, it shocked me. It shocked the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. So yeah, you was mad, and I think most of America was mad. So you're not the only one. So
I was definitely gonna say, I was gonna say I know America was, so upset by him saying no, because like you said, everybody's rooting for us. You guys want us to have a successful marriage. You guys watch, some of our story unfold. And it's crazy because I just saw somebody in the store a couple of days ago, and it's like, you're on the show. And it's like, so tell me, did y'all stay together? I said, no, we did not. And she was like, I was rooting for y'all. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, I know everybody was, but I'm a firm believer in, what's meant to be will be. What's meant for me will be for me. It won't pass me. It will be for me. And same for Shaquille. Like, I wish him the best, and what's for him would be for him. Like, it's okay that things didn't work out, unfortunately. And I hope that the person that we attract and the person that is for us individually will find us, and our lives will align with the person that we're meant to be with at the end of the day, because that's what I truly want for the both of us.
So do you and Shaq, do y'all still communicate? Y'all still friends, or y'all like, hang out partners or whatnot? Come on now.
Well, Shaquille lives in Austin, Texas, and I'm still here in Nashville. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? That was
So,
dumb question.
No, it's okay. It wasn't a dumb question, but yeah. So he and I will talk or text, or like if somebody asks about us, we'll face, like if a random fan asks about us or family and stuff, we'll FaceTime each other, or like call each other, like, hey, such and such wants to meet you, and are you available? So we'll still do that for people. And then like right now, we're needing to file for a divorce. And so I text Shaquille and I'm like, hey, here's the document. I need you to fill this out by Thursday. And he's like, I'm going to try to get to it. I'm like, no, you need to get to it. You asked for a divorce and you and you delaying this process.
Y'all still not divorced?
No.
What?
We're still not divorced. Like we're working on this divorce, so we need to fill out our documents and file.
Oh, see that? I don't want to hear that. Now you give me a little bit of glimmer of hope.
I know you sound like Nicole. You sound like Nicole from the show. Nicole is like, y'all still might have a chance. I'm like,
yeah, y'all taking the still married, and all he got to do is move back to Nashville, and y'all can rekindle that, man.
He better crawl back after saying no like that on TV.
Yeah, he deserved to crawl back. Trust me.
So who is holding up the delay? Is it him?
It's really both of us, because like I filled out some of it, but like we both have to complete the document and file.
Okay, so both of y'all dragging y'all feet. So what y'all dragging y'all feet? Because if you was really and truly that hurt, honey, next day, look, get past that pen, pass that pen, get the paper, and let me fill this out.
That's a good point.
We had to wait officially until like the show completely aired, and had to find an attorney. So like it's a process to it, because the show was like so long. And we were like, when is this going to end? And I don't think it ended until June. So just a couple of months ago, 2 months ago. So we had to wait until the show was completely done airing. Like we couldn't just up and go. Like on decision day, I couldn't up and go and say, I need a divorce.
Kirsten, it's still been 2 months though.
Yeah,
girl.
I've seen people get divorced quicker than 2 months.
That's true. It has been a while.
We still rooting for y'all though. You know what I'm saying? Like if Shaq would answer my DM, brother, we want to hear your side of the story. Come on over here, Shaquille. Don't make me go to Austin, Texas and pull you up out of wherever you at to get an interview, because I want to hear your side and why you let this good girl go.
You know what, Kirsten, all talking and all jokes aside, it seemed like you're a very intelligent woman. Beautiful woman, very intelligent. If Shaq ain't gonna scoop you back up, you'll find you somebody. You're gonna find Mr. Right. He gonna God, like you said, it's all in God's timing, and you'll find Mr. Right. Then Shaq gonna be over there pouting mad. Oh, I should have kept her. I should have said yes. Too late now, brother. Too late now.
Too late. He's gonna be on the sidelines with the rest of them.
Okay.
Speaking of sidelines, your girl Jasmine, she's ready to get back out there on the streets, ain't she?
That's what she said. I said, y'all got it. Going out there, honey, because it's ghetto. I don't know about being in the streets. I may need to be in some conferences. I need to be traveling. I need to be somewhere else. But they said they was back out on the streets. I said, I cannot go to the streets. No.
Yeah, Jazz was ready. She was like, come on, girl. But we saw visibly that you were hurt.
Yeah.
We saw it. You know what I'm saying? And when a person, I know I was married for 20 years. I got a divorce. I wasn't ready to immediately go out. I had to heal, even though you and Shaq's time frame was, very quick, but we did see and we know that you you called feelings for him, and we saw that you were hurt.
Oh, yeah,
and so we didn't see that, Jasmine and Aries,
they really didn't have that.
They really didn't have that connection. Yeah. So it was easy for her to get out there. You was like, girl, I'm gonna focus on business and me. And that's what a lot of women do once they've been in a marriage or a long relationship. They just turn their energy and focus on them because they don't want to get back out there too quick. And I applaud you for doing that. And so,
Jazz, ooh, get on back out there, get my cognac, get my
Yeah. So with that being said, did you develop feelings for Shaq?
I mean, of course I developed feelings for Shaquille. Like, we experienced a journey together, and we spent a lot of time together. So we went through so much. To me, in my eyes, it was emotional, and it was very stressful because it's like you get married, then you go on a honeymoon. So like, not only did we meet at the altar, we're traveling together within a couple of days, and we're sleeping in the bed together within a couple of days. Don't even know each other. So of course, like, I'm going to grow feelings for this person because he is now my husband, and I'm taking this serious. It may have been TV for people, but for me, that was my real life. Like, going through this in my life was part of my life. Right. And so, for me, I was very upset, and I was mostly upset because he didn't communicate with me. And that's all I asked. Was for him to be truthful for me. So I think it hurt my feelings more so when it came to that day. And that's what hurt me even more. And it's like, had we had that conversation before decision day, I wouldn't have been as hurt. I would have been like already processing everything. Right. And so I'm a kind of person, like, it takes me a while to process. Like, dang, this really happened. So after decision day, I felt relieved. Although I was hurt, I felt relieved because I didn't feel like I was in a stressful marriage anymore. I didn't feel like I had to have argumentative conversations with somebody when I feel like we should be working together versus working against each other. And so I came back home and got in my bed and just laid there for a little while, watched TV. I'm like, okay, I'm back to normal. Like, it really felt like I wasn't normal anymore during that time because now I had to add somebody else into my life. I had to consider everything that they were feeling and what they were going through and what we were going through together. And so, I was hurt. I was hurt. And I didn't know that I was hurt until I started to have those moments with myself and to really think about, what just happened. And so after I was like, okay, like, it is what it is. What happened. This is what it's going to be. Like, what do I need to do for myself in order to move forward in life? And so, I just started back spending time with myself, taking myself to dinner. And it's crazy because I do isolate myself from people, even though I'm an extrovert. Sometimes I am an introvert. And so, like, I took myself to eat, and I randomly ran into one of my best friends. And she called me. She's like, did I just see you? I'm like, yeah, you saw me. And so I got to sit down and vent to her and process everything and talk to her about the decision that Shaquille had made and how he made that decision. And, she was a little concerned and she was a little upset because it is my best friend. So she was helping me, process each emotion that I felt and like how to move forward from those emotions and how to heal. So I'm grateful for her. But so I was like, okay, like, life goes on. Let me get back out here. Let me get to work. Let me live a little bit. So I went to Hawaii, and that was amazing. My really good friend, one of my sorority sisters, her and I went to Honolulu together. So that kind of helped me to reset too. I'm like, let me
Good.
just, go by the beach because I love being by the beach. It is calming for me.
It is.
Yes, it's very therapeutic. And so
Right.
I'm like, let's go to Hawaii. We did all the things, all the staple things you can do in Hawaii. And her and I enjoyed each other. We've been friends since spring 11. That's when we crossed. So we've been friends before spring 11, 2011.
Mm.
And so, like, she's helping me. And that's why I like to lean on my family and friends because they are for me. They are there for me during my high and my low times in life. And that's why I always feel like a support system is very important to have because
It
because they do help you, talk about your emotions. They can cheer you up. They can give you more insight of, what you can work on as a person. And, had you done this or said this, things could have been better. And that's what I appreciate about my close family and friends is that they also look at both sides of the story too. They're just not all in Kirsten's corner. They
Right.
are for the most part, but I like that my friends hold me accountable and they will tell me, well, you could have stepped up on this. Or
That's right.
I understand why you feel how you felt, and I understand why you may have reacted that way. But next time, maybe you can try this route to see how it'll go. And
Right.
so, went to Hawaii. Then I took my brother to Toronto for his birthday. So I'm traveling, I'm exploring, I'm seeing new things, hanging out with people who love me and who I love, and just enjoying those moments. So I started to put time into myself and into people that I love. And, got back to work, started to go back into the real estate office because I wasn't going into the real estate office as much because everybody wants to talk about the show. And I didn't always want to talk about the show. I want to talk about
Right.
real estate. I want to talk about what's going on. Like I'm more than just the show, even though I'm associated with it. So started going back in there and just started back to get my feet wet in what my life consists of. So
Good. That's
yeah.
good. Definitely. After a big, thing like that, a breakup, it's good to travel. It's good to go and hang with your friends. It's good to have that support system because a lot of people don't have that and they need that because now you're discovering, new things about you. I did see your Instagram. I think I know you and your mom went to Erica Badu because Erica Badu probably is not in your age group. She probably in mama age group.
Eric's like this in my age group because me and my mom are in the same age group. So
Okay. Mama going to Erica Badu. I see y'all looking cute.
we had a good time. I love Erica Badu, and like I said, I love music and entertainment. So I'm always down for a concert, no matter who it is. As long as I know some songs, I'm gonna sing with them. And I probably shouldn't. I probably should just listen, but I love to sing. But we had a good time. We had a good time.
It looked like it. It really looked like it.
Beyonce was in Vegas last night.
Oh, was it? Did you go see Beyonce as well?
I am Beyonce. Like, of course.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Of course, I went to go see Beyonce. Like, I was waiting for her to call me on stage. So I'm always dressed and ready just in case she ever wants to invite me up there. I'm always ready. But that was my first time going to go see Beyonce. And I just went for fun because at first I wasn't going to attend the concert because I wasn't really like a huge fan of the album and everything. So I'm just like, she's doing this for fun. She's doing it for her fans. Like she's not going to dance and be full out. And I really wanted to see Blue. I needed to know Blue's concert schedule and not.
Okay.
Yeah, I was upset that she didn't bring Blue out. So.
Oh.
So you part of the Beehive?
I'm part of the Beehive. Yeah.
Pretty much. Look, let me go back to something that you said when you were out and Shaq took you out. If Shaq introduced his people to you, why did you so reserve, and not introducing, him to other people? Is it just your makeup and you're more of an introvert and more private?
I'm a very private person, but I did take Shaq. I guess that's me and him put together. But I did take Shaquille to a Titans football game because like I said, I love entertainment, anything, sports, all the things. So I took him to a Titans football game because I don't think he had ever attended one. I'm like, you have to go. Like, this is what we do here in Nashville. We go to the Titans game sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so when we went to this Titans game, we ran into people I know and he knew. So guess what? I had to introduce him to these people I know, and they used to know who I used to date. So that was a lot for me. And I'm like, y'all, this is Shaquille, Shaquille, this is, such and such, this is such and such. I'm like, oh, here we go. And so it's such a small world. When I tell y'all Nashville's so small. So the people already knew that I was on the show and they saw my ring, but the show didn't air yet. This is before the show aired.
Okay.
So I'm like nervous, freaking out. And then it's like, we know about the show and we know somebody else who got married because their cousin was in Aries' wedding. I said, it's a small world. This is why I like to be private. Because another reason why I like to be private is because I protect whatever I'm doing. So if it's me being in school, if it's me doing a real estate deal, if it's me in a relationship, I don't need everybody in my business because I need to make for sure this is solid. And so Shaquille and I's marriage wasn't solid because it was the beginning. So I'm going to protect it. And so that's why I'm a private person, because I'm like, let me see if this is going to work out. If this is going to work out, then guess what? I want the entire world to know this is my husband. This is what we're doing. We're in this together. Like, this is how we rocking, like, but no, starting off, no, I'm going to be very private.
I'm going to say this thing because I know people
don't understand that, at the very beginning.
Yeah, they don't. And I know us watching the show, and we always say this, well, why did you get on the show? We always say that. If a person say I'm private or I don't want to talk about this or whatever, we always say, well, why did you try it for the show? Because it's public. You know what I'm saying? It's so public.
You put your life out there for everybody to see.
Yeah. And especially when sometimes you didn't want to open up or you was afraid to open up. Let me say that. So we always say that because, I don't know if people just don't know what to expect when they sign up for these shows, and maybe it becomes a lot,
Yes. So everybody was definitely asking, like, well, why did she sign up for the show? She didn't want everybody to be in the business. I mean, I didn't know I was going to get selected. So that's what changed the narrative. And I'm like, oh. I didn't know they were going to find me a match. And so I'm like, well, I guess everything is public information at this point, but still to me, although like Beyonce and Jay-Z, for example, Michelle Obama and Barack, for example, they are public people, but they still have a high level of privacy. Mm-hmm. People don't know what's going on in Beyonce and Jay-Z household. People don't know what's going on with Michelle and Barack in their household behind closed doors. And it's like, that's how I operate,
Yeah. Yeah. But to be fair, theirs is a little different. You came on married at first sight. So of course
much
you know what I'm saying? It is different.
Yeah, it's different, but I can kind of see what she's saying, though. You know what I'm saying? Of course you're a public figure, but you still got to keep some things to yourself.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I get it.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you this. You kind of talked about your family, and we saw, I think it was Shaquille's mom and your mom have a bond, and they got very like emotional, and they were rooting for you. Are your parent? Because we didn't get to see your father, but do your mom and Shaquille's mom have a relationship, or how is the dynamic? How is your family? Do they still consider him as
son-in-law,
like family? Well, he technically is
still son-in-law. And grandma said, "Yeah, he's still son-in-law, child. Y'all ain't signed no papers yet." So,
Shaquille's mom and my mom, they definitely, hit it off well. Like it felt like a family reunion at our wedding. It just felt like we already knew each other, surface level wise, and we had a blast at our wedding. Wish the whole world could have been there. Y'all kind of were there, but weren't really there. Right. But so they definitely connected then, and they definitely know what it's like to be a mother, and my mom know what it's like to be a wife, and they both know what it's like to have a relationship with a man and want the love. And so they both wanted that for the both of us, so they were very supportive for Shaquille and I think that's what made them connect when they met each other, and, being out in LA and meeting at the wedding. And like sometimes whenever I talk to his mom, she's like, how's your mom doing? So she'll definitely ask how my mom's doing or whatnot. And then as far as my family's dynamic with Shaquille, it's not really a dynamic there anymore, or anything relevant about him anymore, because he's no longer, part of me, and he asked for the
Right.
divorce. So my family, they're just more concerned about how I'm feeling and, what's next for me relationship wise. But like, if Shaquille ever came to Nashville, if he ever needed anything, or if he called to check on us, to talk to us, like, of course we would support him, and he's invited, and, they would spend time with him.
Good.
Okay. This is a question most people probably want to know.
Before you ask that question, let me ask this question, because people want to know: did you fall in love with Shaquille?
I wouldn't say that I fell in love with Shaquille at all. Like, I couldn't look
Okay.
at him and be like, I love you. Like, I
Okay.
never told him I love him, because for
Even
me,
though, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we didn't fall in love. Like, I don't love him. I have love
Okay.
for him because I'm a human and I want to see him do great in life and have the best that he can have out of life. But in love, no.
Okay. And y'all did have intimate relations. We got to see that. And we got to see, honey, where you like, ooh, I think it's time. And I think it's time. With all that leather, I don't know if it was the first time, but when he put all that stuff on you, you were looking like, okay, all right, I see you.
I'm gonna ask you a question about that. So I didn't want to go there, but I'm gonna ask you a question. After that happened, did Shaq change?
You mean the intimacy?
Yeah,
The first time they
yeah.
had relations?
I don't feel like he changed that much. Like, I don't feel like he was more or less of the man that he was, before that happened.
Okay.
I feel like he was still the same man, still the same husband after we experienced that.
Right.
And yeah, it wasn't anything different. Like,
Okay.
life kept going on. We kept trying to figure each other out, and we just tried to make the marriage work.
All right, good deal, good deal. All right, the question I was going to ask you before I was interrupted.
You may get interrupted again,
Yeah,
but I'm just gonna make this because Kirsten was, and I'm not gonna go on no details, but Kirsten was so fixated that he got to be packing downstairs, So, but you don't share that, but
Yeah,
but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Don't y'all stress me out. Don't y'all stress me out.
We ain't.
I'm gonna say, I'm a church woman. I go to church. I love the Lord, but he gotta be packing.
And see, here's the thing, and it's okay with being, a Christian and having, needs met and expectations and your preferences. It's nothing wrong with that. And somebody told me that they asked everybody that question and it just happened to show mine, which I was, somewhat embarrassed about, because I'm like, okay, like, we're just having a conversation, and like these are questions that need to be answered. Like, everybody talks about this in life. It's normal. And like, I know that it's on TV and it's very blunt, but this is normal. Like, we have a whole sex therapist coming to talk about us. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to really like go all the way there, like, and put it in perspective, like, you have a sex therapist who is a PhD, who is a doctor, to talk to you about different levels of intimacy, because intimacy is not just penetration. It's also about language. It's also about touch. And that's something that I learned as well throughout the process, because she educated us on that. And like, intimacy can also be a text, like, hey babe, I love you and I can't wait to see you when you get home. I'm waiting on you. I have dinner set, X, Y, and Z. Like, that's still a level of intimacy. So like, it's part of being a human. Like,
intimacy is not about bam, 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 bam.
Right.
It's all about, like you said, texting and sending her a rose or send some flowers to her job. It's all about physical, right?
Yeah.
Right. But the physical part was important to me. So, that's why I had mentioned that part.
Yeah. Yeah, she was concerned about the size. She was like, size matters.
I love the Lord, though. I showed it.
And they asked, the Lord knows my heart. He knows. Yes, he knows me.
Yes, that's right.
Well, all right. Are you dating now?
Right now I'm not dating because I'm not really being intentional with the dating world. I'm not like looking for somebody. I'm not on the apps, and then Shaquille and I still have to file for a divorce. I mean, but if a man approaches me the proper way, because sometimes I feel like men don't know how to approach women nowadays, and some men are scared to approach women, and I'm not that bold of a woman to go approach a man, even if I do feel like he's attractive. So no, I'm not dating.
Well, I'm gonna ask you that real quick, man. I'm gonna ask you something about that. If you are attracted to a man and you see a man like you walking or you in the store, you see this guy, how do you allow that man to come to approach you? How would you allow that man to know that you're attracted to him? Will you wink at him? Would you look at him? You got to give him some kind of sign so he can walk over to you.
If I'm attracted to a guy, if I'm attracted to a man, sometimes I will make eye contact. So what I practice a lot now that I'm older is not making eye contact with the man if I'm not interested in him, because I don't want them to approach me, and I don't want to have to turn them down. Like, I don't want to have to let them experience that. So yes, like I'll have to get myself under control first of all, because I'm like, ooh, like this man right here, like I hope he's not married and I hope he's not dating. So it's like I have to build up my confidence too to let him know I'm interested in him, because what if he is, what if I didn't see his ring? What if he's in a relationship? So it's like I'm putting myself out there, making contact with him, and I'm like, are you looking at me because I'm looking at you? Like, do you see me because I see you? Like, what's going on? Like, are we going to walk down the same aisle? Are we going to get on the same workout machine? Like, how do we meet each other in the middle, so each other can feel comfortable introducing themselves? But
yeah, now this age is different. A lot of guys, hey, they be in the DMs, and I don't know if you've done DM dating, but I was a stickler on DM dating. So on Facebook, after I got a divorce, the dudes was in my DMs on the Facebook. And so I did a lot of my dating that way. It wasn't the normal way of what we consider normal, of them walking up to you, hey, what's your phone number? Most of the guys that you do not want to talk to, they got two teeth that want to ask you for your phone number, but it's not the ones that's actually, of substance. And so I DM dated. So I don't know.
You slid into other people's DMs?
No, they slid into mine.
Oh.
Now, of course, as we were talking backstage before we came on air,
you slid in my DM?
I slid in his DM because I started a singles mixer and so forth and so on. And that's how we started, because of a singles mixer that I was doing for other people. And I did it for him. And he was like, hey, I'm only coming for you. I was like, dude, it's other people out there. You don't, other ladies coming. He was like, I'm not coming for them. I'm coming for you. He was very direct.
You like telling that story, don't you? It makes you feel good.
That's just the truth.
I like this story. I like that. Like, you was very direct with her, and so she knew to take you serious. But she's still trying to like give you to other women, and you're like, no, I'm coming for you. Like, I like that, and that's what I talked about in our marriage. It's like, I like when a man is direct. I like when a man leads. I like when a man tells me, exactly what's up or what's going on. Like, we can do, the flirting and stuff like that sometimes. But no, babe, tell me what you need. Or like sometimes I'll start to learn what you need, and you won't have to tell me. But I love how y'all like became married. Like, that's a pretty good story.
It definitely is. And so with that being said, two questions, hopefully I won't forget the second one. With that being said, would you date via your DMs? I know you said you like for a guy to approach you, but you said guys just not approaching women like they used to. You know what I'm saying? They're afraid of rejection, and women don't want to come up to a man for the same reason. So would you date in your DMs? Have your DMs been popping after they found out that you was divorced?
I guarantee it was popping.
Well, as far as the way I have my account set up, I have like primary, general, and then I have to accept people. So sometimes if I have time on my hands, like I'll go in there and look at the general, and then I'll look at the request. But it just takes it's so many people, like nice people who want to collab. It's so many different, type of people in that DM, to where if the guy DM me, I won't even know. So he probably might have to make a comment underneath my post.
Right.
But I don't know how I would feel dating a person on the DMs. And here's the reason why, because I feel like men may slide in multiple women DMs. So I'm like,
and they do.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah, they do. Because and I'm just being honest with you, because before I met her, that's what I was doing. I slid in, I just blow out a message for all of them. Good morning, beautiful. it'd be 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? 3 might reply back. You know, but when I met her, that kind of got shut down.
That's right. That's right. I love that. But it's just like, for me, I don't know how I feel about that just yet, because I don't want to feel like he's texting me and other people and DMing other women. I want it to be more personable. Like, I want a guy to catch me at the coffee shop or at a meeting or at a panel or somewhere where we already seem like we have things in common, you know, because we're here for the same reasons. Like, I don't want
Right.
anybody and everybody just sliding up in my DMs because based off my pictures and based off you seeing me on TV, like, I don't know if you have the right intentions.
That's
So
right. That's
it's kind of hard to judge, you know, who has good intentions and who don't when people are sliding in your DM. And it's like, for me, sometimes when people look good, like, that's fine that you look good on the outside, but tell me more about the inside. Like, I don't
Right.
want to just talk to a man because he looks good, and I don't want a man to talk to me just because I look good. It's more to life than, you know, what somebody looks like. So it's all about the approach. It's about the conversations. Like, it's
Yeah.
about more than just sliding for me, because once I look on that page, if he done slid, I kind of already am passing judgment on him based off some of his posts. You know,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the post, I'm looking at the captions, I'm looking at who he follows. Honey, I am a deep diver, and people don't even know because I don't really say much. But I'm like, yeah, I seen you do that just yesterday. I looked at your story, and I can already kind of get some type of idea of what type of person you are, and that's not what I need in my life.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why I said that could be a way of dating. And even if a guy is talking to multiple people in the DM, so is a guy walk up to you, he could still be talking to multiple women,
Oh
the
yeah,
same way. It can work
happen
both ways. I
Yeah.
think
It's a
sometimes
chance you
when
got to take.
I think when sometimes when you date via Instagram or Facebook, you can see their posts, you can see what's on their mind, you can see how they move,
You weed
if
them
they
out.
honest, you know what I'm saying? And you just kind of weed them out. And I think the dating apps are a little bit more structured to just dating apps. You know, with Instagram and Facebook, you can kind of see their family, you know, because you can kind of see more of them than just, you know, a dating app.
Unless I got that page private, and to me that's a red flag.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, my page used to be private because, like I said, I'm a private person. So a majority of people that I used to accept my requests, I came in contact with them. Like, I would know
Right.
them, because if I'm posting my niece and if I'm posting my dad and my mom, I didn't want everybody like having access to my pictures like that. And so
Right.
my page was private, and I just made it public after the show because I felt more comfortable. I'm like, well, everybody already saw us on Lifetime anyway, so they know who we are, what we look like, what we're doing here in Nashville. But you made a great point when you guys both said that person may walk up to you and approach you, and he may be seeing other women. That's totally true. And it is out of my control of who he's talking to and what he's doing on a daily basis. But yeah, if y'all have some candidates, feel free to send them over to me. If y'all have some men who y'all know are single and y'all feel like they would be a great fit, like, I'm open to like a soft line, like a warm, we call them warm transfers when I used to work. Like, you kind of introduce somebody to somebody and be like, okay, I'm going to send them over to you. Like, so it's like, you kind of know a little bit about this person, and you feel like, hey, Kirsten's a pretty great woman, and you seem like a pretty great man. Like, see what you think about each other. Like, I like something like that. Like,
Gotcha.
that's a little bit more
mutual
organic.
friend.
Yeah, mutual friend.
A mutual friend. Right. So what's your age range since we there?
I prefer a man that is between 36 to 40. I'm only 33, and I'll be 34 in January. 123 is my birthday.
You are an older guy. Okay.
Yes, and that's what I told the experts. And so it was really hard for them to find a mate, somebody that would match up and align with everything I asked for. And I actually gave Shaquille a real chance. Like, because I could have just been like, you know what, I'm not doing this. Like, I could have quit at the altar. But I'm like, no, let me explore him. Let us see what we can do. Because I'm like, I've been through that before. I've had a guy that was 1 year younger than me. Like, I know what it is that I'm looking for in a man. And I feel like at that age, sometimes when a man is 36 to 40, they're a little bit more, you know, set in their careers. They're, you know, at a different level in life. And so they may be ready to have a wife because they already have everything else. And so
Yeah.
that's why I kind of focus more so on that age range. Like the
Okay.
only way I can date a man younger than me if if he is already pretty much settled into life. If he's experienced certain things, if he's learned from certain things, if he's experienced a relationship and, been through the ups and downs in life, if he's really mature in those levels of life, then I would be somewhat interested in him. But I definitely prefer somebody that's 36 to 40.
All right, a little life experience there.
I just sometimes the 40 years old not ready either. I'm just gonna be
Well,
honest.
yeah, but
They not.
still,
They
you
still
know,
I don't
trying
need
to
a
figure out
40-year-olds that's not ready. They haven't got themselves together
Yeah.
and counseled themselves through what they've been through and know how to undo some habits. I don't need them. And that's why I'm very selective on who I date next. Like I am, because it's like
right.
I'm at the point in my life I can't fix you if you have
Amen.
if you ain't whole and if you have some habits that you need to fix, you need to go work on yourself.
Yeah.
but with them guys in their upper 30s and 40s, most likely they're gonna have a child already.
And the thing about having a child, because I know people like that, and I know women who may date men and give men a chance. That's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But I do try to look at things from so many different perspectives because I am an open-minded person.
Right.
And I do respect men who take great care of their children. I do respect men who have overcame a divorce, and had great things happen after that. I respect all of that because it does show me that you're still trying in life. It shows me
Right.
that you know how to take care of a child, which is what I do look for in a man, because I need to know that my partner is going to put in just as much work as I am physically and emotionally into an individual that we create together or that we may have had, before we come together. Like I need to know that you have that type of capability to do that. Because children are a huge responsibility.
Big
And I
time.
love kids. I've taught kids. I've worked with them many years. So, I feel like I would hope, and that's a whole nother different dynamic too. I would hope that the child would be loving and caring to me too. Because sometimes people experience, where the child is trying to process everything and they may not like the other parent. They may feel like their relationship is being taken away from that parent. So it's like you still got to figure all of that out. You just never know. So it's a lot.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Masculine. Was Shaq not masculine enough for you?
And they asked me that on the show and I got upset about it because masculinity looks different for everybody, right?
Exactly.
And so for me, my dad is very masculine. My dad is a business owner. He has an automotive shop. He's a mechanic. So I'm used to seeing a man that's hands-on. I'm used to seeing a man that's leading. I'm used to seeing a provider. So that's what I consider masculine, is a man who is doing what he needs to do for himself and his family. And Shaquille is masculine. He's a man.
Right.
Is he the masculine level that I've seen in my father? Two different spectrums.
Right.
And so for me, I kind of got a little upset because I was like, I don't want y'all to push a certain narrative on this man
Right.
because he's innocent. And so what I'm going to do as a woman and as a wife and as a person with millions of eyes on me is I'm going to protect him. And so that comes back to me protecting him. You get what I'm saying? And like, that's what you're supposed to, in my eyes, I feel like that's what you're supposed to do for one another and being in a marriage. And so I feel like Shaquille is masculine. And is he the type of masculinity that I'm used to seeing? He's not. And so this day and time in this era, first of all, that's a whole nother topic for another day too. These men nowadays, they don't come as hard as they used to. I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna be honest. But men also don't always have to be hard. Like it's okay sometimes for a man to let his guard down and be like, you know what, I'm not okay today. You know what, I need a moment. And so that's what I'm learning too as a woman. Like we are all human. Like it's okay for a man to lead. It's okay for him to provide. But if you having a little moment, have your moment. Maybe go have it separately or whatever. And then, have it with me after you done kind of got yourself and your thoughts and your emotions together. Like don't be always breaking down crying because I don't cry. Like it's a certain level of sensitivity that I can't handle because I'm very hard on myself. I'm very hard on like, okay, I cried for 5 minutes. What we gonna do to fix it? Like, So I feel like it's okay for men to have, a soft side to them.
Yeah, me being a man, yeah, sometimes we have good days and bad days, and when we do have our bad days, we try to put out this, we try to put up this persona, like, okay, it's not bothering me, I'm gonna hold it in, hold it in. As I got older, I said, oh, that's not the right thing to do, because you let this stuff fester inside of you like that, and when it do blow up, it's gonna blow up real bad. Either you're gonna break down crying like a big baby, or you're gonna lash out. So we have our good days and bad days, and and with society the way it is now, it took a while for society to accept men that was able to cry. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because back in the day when I grew up, I'm something like your dad, hard, just hard nosed, just like, man, a grown man don't supposed to be crying. You know what I'm saying? I always thought it was soft, me growing up. But as I got older, I said, okay, every once in a while you gotta let that stuff out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, being a masculine man is different for different people. Your dad, he's hardcore mechanic, works with his hands. And you got this other guy here, shirt and tie, going to the office. To me, they both masculine, but in different ways, So a lot of people don't see that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people was questioning Shaq masculinity because how he was acting.
And I hated that.
Yeah, and I thought it was an unfair judgment on Shaq.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have people in the comments gonna have their own opinions about things. They're gonna say what they want to think, and I just thought they gave him an unfair judgment on Shaq, in my opinion. So, but yeah, I just want to put that 2 cents out there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the world does weigh in on the comments so heavily, and it is very unfortunate and very unfair when people pass judgment on people that's on TV, on the Shade Room, on all of these platforms, because it's like, although you're seeing that, you still don't know this person. Like, you have not sat down to talk to them. You have not been with them day in and day out. And it's like, if I needed Shaq to do anything for me, he would do that. If I'm asking him for help, he's going to do that. He's going to be that man. He's going to have that masculinity. He's going to move these boxes. He's going to carry my suitcase. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to do what he need to be doing, because that was my man. Like, and so it is always so unfortunate, and it's like, I think it's amazing when men dress up and when men wear their ties, and like, you don't always get your fingers dirty as a man. It's a whole bunch of bosses out here who don't lift a muscle, and they bosses, and so it's like, you can't just say, oh, we think this and we think that. But
Shaq, he's from what, Mississippi?
He is from Louisiana.
Louisiana.
In Louisiana. Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's from down there in the swampland, Cajun country. Yeah.
You got any more questions, baby?
No, I really thoroughly enjoyed this interview.
Yeah.
I really did. Well, it's chit chat. It's not an interview. It's a chit chat.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Is there anything that you want to say, Kirsten? How can people reach out to you, or anything else you want to say before we, get off?
I definitely would like to thank you guys for having me today. I definitely enjoyed our conversation. And I do love when people weigh in and give their perspectives and what they thought, or how things could have been better, or what they've experienced in life and what's worked for them. I enjoy listening to you guys' story. Like I said, if you guys have anybody who you think would be a good fit, I may take a look and see. Feel free. I can see y'all's DMs, so y'all DM me some stuff.
I got a friend named Leroy. He got 4-5 gold teeth in his head.
Chad, come on now.
What? She like Leroy.
Leroy.
No, it's a no.
I'll just clowning with you.
Courtney knows.
Yeah, I got you.
She knows what I need. Yeah,
I got you. So how can, if people wanted to follow you on social media, or is there anything that you got going on currently you want people to kind of get involved in or be connected to? How can they reach out to you, or how can they follow you?
People can definitely follow me at Kirsten. That's KIRSTEN.realtor on Instagram. That's usually the platform that I use the most, because I can go live, I can see comments, and if I have time, I'll look at the DMs. But right now, I'm just working on some things. I haven't put anything out there, for people to participated in just yet besides the dress giveaway, and I'm still looking for a winner with that. And I don't know if I want to extend it because my wedding dress was very beautiful and very expensive and it's very special. So yeah, so right now that's the only thing that I had going on was the giveaway, but I am going to be working on some more things because it is fulfilling for me to be able to bless somebody else and, you know, have that hope and love for other people around the world. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, Kirsten.realtor.
Okay. I think you may be the first person, and I could be wrong, that has given away or did a giveaway for your wedding dress. You really and truly just want to be done with that, right?
I want to close that chapter in my life. Oh wait, my Instagram, sorry. My Instagram is Kirsten.therealtor. I don't usually look at my user handle and shout it out much, but yeah, everybody can keep up with me and follow me and stay in touch at Kirsten.therealtor. But yeah, so
Yeah, you just want to be done with that chapter of your life. So yes, that's why you're giving it away.
that's exactly why that's one of the reasons why I'm giving it away. The biggest reasons for the giveaway is because weddings are expensive. And so when you think about a wedding, you have to think about the cost of the dress, which my dress was $5,400 something dollars. And you have to think about the cost of the venue, which can range from $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000. Then the honeymoon. And so I'm like, if I give this dress away, somebody can look beautiful and as seen as I did on my day. And they can save a lot of money because they won't have to purchase a dress. And then they can put that money towards down payment on the house. They can pay off some debt, or they can, you know, do something else in their wedding budget. So I'm like, this is a very helpful giveaway, in my opinion. And so I just wanted to be able to help somebody else and help them feel beautiful and seen.
Okay, let me ask one question before we leave. Speaking of this, how is the housing market up there in Nashville?
Oh, the housing market all over the United States is insane because interest rates are high.
Killing. Yeah.
So the Nashville market is doing great. It always probably will be because Nashville is like one of the top 5 places in the United States. 80 people move here a day. So it always depends on the person's budget, if they're relocating or moving here, and their credit scores. So it's always houses for sale here in Nashville. New construction is still happening. So the market here is still doing well.
Okay, I know the interest rates are high, but are the houses coming down?
You know what? It has been some price reductions.
Right.
Sometimes reductions happen if a person puts a house on the market that is not the ideal price point. And then another price reduction happens if somebody is ready to sell that house like ASAP, if they're motivated to sell this house because they have to purchase another house or they just need to get rid of it. So those are 2 reasons why price reductions occur. And then some houses, the price increases because the value may have went up in the area. So you may see some price increases too.
Well, I know Franklin, Tennessee is where the big houses are located at, right?
The big houses.
Them big expensive houses. And I know that market is not changing at all in Franklin, is it?
No, and it's so crazy. It's because I was reading some articles years ago, and that's one of the most best and expensive places to live in the United States. It's ranked as one of the best places to live. So you have your athletes out there, you have your country artists out there, you have old money out there.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a different bracket of demographics out there, and it's like the higher class, basically.
Yeah.
In the
You probably wonder why I know about Franklin, Tennessee. I used to drive out there to Franklin, Tennessee. I used to work up there. So
okay.
Yeah, I didn't live there. Wish I could live there, but
well, on that note, for those that if Kirsten is going to, she's not 100% sure if she's going to continue with the giveaway. So, but make sure that you guys follow her at Kirsten.therealtor. Correct. Oh yeah. Follow her on Instagram just to see if she's going to continue with it. And hey, maybe if she does, then you can be a part of the giveaway because how many weddings go on a year? It was so many anniversaries in this month of August. So people are still getting married, So
are they?
I don't know. Now, child, that's something else. But anyway, they still having weddings. So yeah.
People still get married. People get married every day.
They really do. So, but again, we thank you so much, Kirsten, for taking this time out of your busy
Yeah,
schedule
we really
to
do.
sit down and talk to us. We appreciate it so much. And yeah, we wish you nothing but the best.
Nothing but the best. Real talk. And you know, we're gonna be keeping an eye on you. You know, we're gonna be kind of like peeping in every once in a while. What's she doing? What's she doing? What's she doing? So
thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Kirsten.
you. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's evening too.
All right,
All right, you do
bye-bye.
something. Bye.
Bye.